I am loving this Fancy Friday thing.
Feel like 007 or his other character, the Benoit Blanc. I feel
Mm.
like I'm living in the glass onion.
What did you think about the estate in that movie?
Something feels off. I don't know what it is. Like I can't
Yeah.
put my finger on it.
I feel like in a movie when there's like a big estate like that, it's usually so beautiful. There's just something that doesn't.
But it's not dated. I mean, a lot of it still feels very contemporary, but there's just something that feels like not right. The house itself is almost having an identity crisis. I feel, like from
Yeah.
the outside when you arrive, it feels like tropical resort. But then when you go inside, especially the main kind of hall that he has, feels like it's like an urban loft.
I think it's that way because he's kind of trying to come off as this very worldly man who has very good taste and has curated this house, but I just don't think that's actually like him.
To me, it feels like there's a sense of insecurity there that he's trying to hide. He's like constantly requiring validation. It's like he needs to have the designer logos. I know what I'm doing. This is fancy. He's trying to create an image.
That isn't really who he is. I think he is insecure and he is trying to kind of keep that side of him secret. It's really interesting the way this movie, it is a mystery and it's all about secrecy and trying to keep things from one another, but the entire production design is so oversaturated with glass.
And it's kind of overcompensation, I think, that we talked about with Miles. He's building himself an armor. This glass house
Mhm.
gives him some sense of protection, but also showing off
Mhm.
as well. So glass, I feel like, has a lot of metaphor and,
And
and
it's
symbolism into
I
this.
feel like the glass is almost like ironic. The symbolism of glass is usually like vulnerability, it's connection because you can see through it, it's fragility. But he is using it to create a separation or like a boundary between him and everyone else.
If you remember, like most of the crucial plot points happens kind of with a glass pane in between them. There was a shot, a secret that is being revealed, and I think the biggest keep appearing, the Mona Lisa, is behind glass. So glass always has acted as this separator between the good and the bad, or like the character and the crucial moment is. Glass is almost acting as a boundary.
Hmm.
So, in our spirit of anti, glass is the anti boundary.
There is so much glass in that movie, like so much. And I feel like in a way,
Well, I mean, the furniture
the
too, and the
exactly
sculptures, and like
everything,
everything. So, not
everything
just
is glass.
architecture, it's crazy.
It's creating this false sense of transparency. And I think it's kind of this way they're signaling the character of Miles. He's saying, like, there is nothing that I have to hide. I'm so open. I'm so honest. And I think that it's just a tactic to use all of this, like, false sense of transparency as a distraction for everyone.
Well, you think about it from the very beginning of the set design, when you are first introduced to Miles and his estate. If you remember that arrival scene when they look up and they see this like glass onion right up there, it is a distraction. It kind of brings your eyes right there
It's like a focal point.
and you forget to look around, not pay too much attention. If you think about it, like onion itself, it's so many layers. And the core usually is so protected because you have to peel through so much to get to it. Yet this one with glass, the core is in plain sight.
The biggest secret or the biggest clue in the movie is in the most transparent room.
And then other room where a lot of the action happens, the main dining rooms, and there's a lot of things that to look at. You're being so distracted. You're overstimulated in
There's
that room.
art and glass, just stuff
Sculpture.
everywhere.
And then there's the giant Mona Lisa. So there's so much distraction that you don't know where to look. And as the puppet master of all of this, Miles can tell you exactly what you've seen or what you thought you've seen as well, because there's so much to hide.
It's this whole idea of distraction and guiding attention to hide things. That's like what they do in magic, like a magician, all of the smoke and mirrors. When you think about what Miles is doing, his whole mindset and his whole worldview with the disruptors. Do you remember that speech?
Nobody wants you to break the system itself. But that is what true disruption is. And that is what unites all of us. We all got to that line and crossed it.
In a way, he's uniting them with this idea of the disruptors. So he's pulling them away from their industry. He's saying you're different than what everyone else is doing. But he is still the creator of the idea of the disruptors. So he's in control. Like you said, he gets to almost play puppet master for all of this.
Well, it's culture and counterculture. When you have the masses that follow something, which is kind of mainstream culture, then you have all of the people that are rejecting that to create this counterculture, kind of like the disruptors here.
They're the
And
counterculture.
They are the counterculture. But at the same time, they still are united under the umbrella of disruptor. They're still following somebody's kind of ideology. And I think that in a way, until you can break out of that and truly kind of just live in your own lane, I think that that's when magic will happen. I think that that's the moment of authenticity. And I think that that maybe is what we're thinking of why it's so weird. Something's off about Miles' set.
Because it's inauthentic.
Right. It's somebody's telling him that he should like this piece of art. He should have this here. He should do this. He should do that. Interior design is kind of similar, where I think that there's a misconception that when you hire an interior designer, they will tell you what to do. They're going to tell you to buy this. They're going to tell you to buy that. Yes, of course, that's kind of what we do. But it's really just about us helping our clients really find their voice, you know? So a client can be a concept or even an idea of a restaurant, an idea of a hotel, take its own voice.
Like this idea of having Fancy Friday. And yet we're out here on the roof eating fries next to an AC unit.
Cheers.
Follow and subscribe to Studio THO on YouTube. You don't want to miss this. Happy THOing.
Happy THOing.